It's your friendly spiritual wolf, Bushwicking, and we're working on this unidentified radio. I'll show you it afterwards because I got it all hooked up. But without further ado, I'll run down what it is. As you can see, I don't have a model number, so I can't find it. And I have a serial number, but I wasn't able to find anything on it. Anyways, let's get into this video, and then I can show you what it is at the end. Maybe some of you will be able to identify it. But I got it already hooked up here. As you can see, it's missing 2 tuner screws. And I'm going to show you what I've synopsised to be wrong with it. So please stick tuned to this video and enjoy. As you can see, they put a jumper hack wire. And this has got like a ceramic capacitor that needs to be replaced. So anyways, without further ado, a ceramic capacitor that's disconnected, that's hooked to a wire, and I gotta find out where that is. So it'd be great when I can finally find the schematic to do so. Thankfully, I'm on a forum on Facebook, so hopefully somebody comments and is be able to help me find out what it is, and maybe have one themselves and have a model number. If any of you do, that would be greatly appreciated. I'll show you the radio, the front fascia of the radio at the end. And also, I want to replace the volume knob, because the volume's affected in this radio, because it's an on-off volume all-in-one, and that's broken. And I'll show you what's wrong with that. See that? I don't know if you can see it. It kind of goes in and out. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm going to set you right here and show you. Okay, so what I did is I put it in the DC 600, because you know DC is battery. And then I put it in the AC DC 300V DC 300 MADC max right here for my ground. I've got it 300 and up. So first, as you can see, it's missing the 2 tuner screws, which I believe is affecting it, and I'll show you why. Because if I hit this right here, I get nothing. This one I was able to get a slight crack out of. But this, oh, I gotta turn it on. Sorry. This one, nothing. This one, crack. This one, but right here, I get full blast. So what's that tell me? That they did take the tuning screws out and somebody was operating on this. Now what they were doing to this, I'm assuming they thought by taking these tuner screws out would fix the problem, and then they put a wire here because they weren't having a good. But if you listen to this radio normally without me jumping those out, it only gets 2 channels, one on the TV and one on the music, one of the music channels on only one of the music settings. And it's a pop station. For those of you who are from Vermont, you're probably familiar with 95 XXX. I don't know if they go into the New York State. But as you can see, when I jumped it out, I got the local Vermont station, which I believe is just Vermont, for 95 XXX. But the other one, the Eagle Country, which I don't mind. You know, I'm not a big fan of modern country. But anyways, enough about that. So we figured that if I do that, that's what it will do. Sadly, like I said, I don't have a model number, so I wasn't able to find a schematic on this radio. So that kind of sucks. But as you can see, when I jumped out, those 2, what it gave me. It gave me the full, which makes me wonder if this had an open circuit. I think what happened is they tampered with it, pulled the 2 tuning screws out, sadly, which sucks. And then I'm assuming that this one is open right here, and I'll show you the one I'm talking about. Right here, this is open circuit. Where is it? Right there, that one. With a solder on it, with a soldered wire to it. The one right there. This baby. That is probably most likely the open circuit. And what they did is they removed these 2 tuner screws, thinking that would fix the problem. Because they broke the volume switch, because it snapped in the center, wore out, maybe it was sticky, they popped in this lovely taco and rigged that up. A lovely wire hack job. Gotta love that. And then this was cut or disconnected or came undone. I'm assuming that may have came undone. Now, where I got this from, the person told me that it had been sitting in the attic of the place. It was their brother's newly acquired house, and he bought the house off a Jewish lawyer, is the story, with all the contents still in the house. And I knew the man who owned the house before his brother, and I know these people. And anyways, they had a big auction, sold some stuff off, but they still had stuff left over, so they had a little mini estate sale to get rid of the rest of it. I bought a few things there, but I knew this guy I knew this person pretty well, and his brother, and so he thought of me with this, and he got it for me. And so, anyways, that's kind of the backstory about how I got this radio. Now let's look at the front of this radio. And mind you, the antenna's still in good shape. So, the body's a little cracked up. But this radio isn't that bad that I don't think it couldn't come back to life. This front fascia is loose. As you can see, they put WEA to mark it because this is a weather band radio. But it's missing the name tag. And from the closest one I could find that looked similar to this, I figured out that it might be a Radio Shack, but this must be one of the later 70s models, maybe into 80s. I'm going to say mid to late 70s because of the color of the knobs and the style of them. And they probably just weren't able to, it's not up on there because, companies make so many different radio models over the course of time every year. At least back then they did, so they didn't always record every schematic or everything on one, but I'm hoping to find a schematic or a closest schematic to this radio so I can locate that. And maybe if somebody knows of this radio and has a model number, because they have a similar radio on theirs that's still there, and they could provide me that model number, I'd greatly appreciate it so I could get parts for this, because I want to get this knob if I can find it. And I want to get those tuning screws replaced, because I'm assuming that tuner's probably fine, and it's just and replace that other part. Worst case scenario, I think I'm going to buy tuning screws, two tuning screws, and that band tuner and that other part, just in case. So worst case scenario, I have to replace that whole thing, but I'm assuming that's what they did. The antenna here is in very excellent condition. That is also why I warrant saving it, and it's pretty good shape otherwise, so that's kind of why. Oh, the other thing I need to get for this radio is where is it? Let me find it. This right here. I need to get 2 more of those. There was a plastic one down in here that broke off that goes to this, and then there were 2 of these, but I think I'm going to get a third one, kind of drill a hole and make that for the screw that holds that plate on. And then I'm just going to epoxy that on where it broke. Right here, I'll show you. See how it kind of cracked right there? I'm just going to epoxy that in place, call that done. I'd like to put some because you won't see that from the inside, so I'm not going to worry about cosmetics too much there. But I'd like to epoxy this in all the corners, fix the corners, and kind of like do this cabinet in black, maybe pull the internals out and just fix it right the first time. I also want to take the taco switch out of this one, like I said, and put the new old stock or whatever volume switch in it, and cover that hole up, epoxy it, and paint it there so you will never notice it, and kind of touch up this chassis and blend it in with the closest match black I can, so it won't look like 2 different colors, and it'll look good. And if I'm going to do that, I might as well just paint the whole chassis in fresh black, so that's what I'll do. At the same time, I'll take the knobs off, clean those up, and take this plate off anyways, get the old glue off, and fix that back where it's fallen. And this radio should be good as new, and I'll find a way to disconnect that. I think it's just clips that you bend the tabs. But anyways, that's pretty much this radio right here. If I can find a model number and a brand name, and somebody can if you're part of my Instagram or Twitter, if you can send me a picture of the model number and what the decal looks like, if you have this radio, would be greatly appreciated, so I can get a reproduction made of the decal of the name, and also a reproduction of that model number, and just go off of that one, because why not? That will help me immensely, because I think the model number will help me with finding a schematic. And if you don't care that I use your model number on the back of mine, because I don't think it really matters too much, as long as you don't care, I'd be greatly appreciative if I could get a sticker made with that model number and just go with that, because I'd be lucky if I ever find the actual model number for this, because they made so many different model numbers. But this is definitely a good quality radio, because it's got the Pioneer speaker in it, and that's why I warrant fixing it up. And also because it doesn't look like it needs that much, and the fact that it works already in itself. This one will be coming up, this Emerson. That ceramic capacitor's got to get soldered back on and put back together. This one's going to be fixed. It's a General Electric DC AC battery powered radio, and I'd like to find the original switch for that, but I might use this taco on that temporarily just to fix that. And there's a wire that broke on me when I was working on it that needs to be resoldered. That shouldn't be too bad. This is a transistor, and I eventually plan on getting a new antenna for it. So as you can see, the round ball is the ball piece on the top of the antenna is broke off, which is not such a big deal. It's like a magnet that collects the I believe it's like a magnetic force in the air that gives it the signal, and that's kind of what that's for. And I believe that's a semi-imperative part that you need, but it's not an overly big deal if you don't have it. It's just I'd like to fix the switch, because this one stays on all the time, and I think that's what was happening. It was that switch was keeping it on, because the switch was bad. But anyways, thank you so much, YouTubers, and I hope you enjoyed this little repair, and I made the video a little longer out of prior request from one YouTuber, because they like to see, or YouTube person that's been watching my videos likes to see longer videos. So do check this video out, and as always, if you wouldn't mind liking, if you wouldn't mind, I mean, I'm not gonna force you to like. If you dislike, that's fine. Commenting if you would, please. Especially, please, if you dislike my video, so I know how to make it better. And also, subscribe if you wouldn't mind. That way you get full notification, and hit that notification bell. That way you're a part of my channel, and you get full notification of all my videos if you hit the full notification bell, which I would very much so love. But if you decide to do the mid, or you just don't want to have that many notifications at all, that's fine. But if you could, that would be great, just because I would love to know that my videos have helped somebody in some way. And as always, have an excellent time, whatever it is, wherever you are. Keep your heads up, stay strong, all that kind of jazz. And sunshine, unicorns, and rainbows. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next YouTube video.